Good night to those who are now joining. Good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you're now joining us from. Good evening and good night to all from Guyana. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Black love to all, black love to all. So tonight is an interesting topic. Very, very interesting. And I was speaking about it just the other night. Now we have the de facto vice president, and he's a de facto. He and his entire cabinet was never elected. They are a terrorist group of people, and I make no qualms of talking about it. So we will expound upon the economic bubble, the crisis Guyana has now found itself in. So we will talk about it some more. So as you now join, share the live stream. The Gavin Matthews show is in full swing. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Yes, it seems to me like the camera was off just now, but share the live. Welcome to you all. Share the live. So before I start, let me say welcome to those who are now joining us from Guyana, to the Caribbean Isles, the West Indian Isles, the Pacific Isles, the British Virgin Isles, the US Virgin Isles, the Maldives, Mexico, US, Canada, UK, EU, China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. To those who are joining me from the Australian continent, as far as Melbourne and Tasmania, Australia. To those who are joining from the New Zealand Isles, the Tonga Isles, the African continent, the South American continent, as far as Chile and Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Suriname, French and Dutch Guyana, the Netherlands, Curacao. Welcome to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I was told to add, although I said the Caribbean Isles means the Caribbean community, but those from the Isles of Trinidad and Tobago would just like their personal shout outs, and those from the Barbadian Isles or the Isles of Barbados, welcome to you all. So before I start, they had an interesting outplay today at the Republic Diamond Branch Bank. And the outplay was we had a pregnant woman, a mother of a young child, very young. I would approximately say it's maybe less than a month or 2 months old child, was at the bank to withdraw or to deal with finances that belongs to her. To those who are looking, I want to make it specifically clear that no bank has the right to withhold your money, whether you are vaccinated or unvaccinated. No bank has that right to withhold your monies from you. It's impossible to do such a thing. No bank. So we're going to pick on the Republic Bank tonight because that bank seems to be very disrespectful. Because if you had my money stored in your bank and you refuse to give it to me when I turned up for it, I don't know, according to the Guyanese terminology, how the corn would share. Believe you me. Believe you me. That would have been a hell of a hobble or a terrible time. So, tonight, the truth is out. It's in clear words. Very clear words. Suddenly, in clear words and actions, Mr. Bar Jagdio realized that raise vote can't make it no more in this country because there ain't got enough people like he for vote for them because they have lost their constituencies. Suddenly, there's a grasp to represent black people. Suddenly, we now become the majority. So there's a grip and a grasp to represent us. His nice talks on the international stage. But we who listen are failing to realize that that's the PPP propaganda. The truth is that foreign investment is here, but they cannot indulge. They cannot indulge with the local business communities because 90% of them are questionable characters, cannot give accountability for the wealth that they have, cannot give accountability for the wealth that they have. They have specific problems. We can talk somebody named tonight. Talk a lot of names tonight. Some people's names are going to be called. Do you know that the American Chambers of Commerce that has an office here in Guyana are intercepting most business deals in Guyana because of one particular reason? Do you know what's the reason? Like nobody ain't talking this thing at all. Do you know what's the economic reason? Do you know why most local businessmen cannot invest in the oil sector? The de facto administration is going to say that Guyanese are not educated or not trained in that capacity or skilled in that capacity to involve themselves in the business sector. Our local businesses does not have that environment. So we can only encourage foreign businesses to come in and to eat up that economic boost that is available in the labor sector. Here, what's the problem? I want you all to realize what's the problem. The problem is not about the skilled workers are not being available. That's not the problem. To throw that through the door one time. Y'all listen, Gavin Matthews talking the thing. Here, what's the thing? Here, what's the thing? The thing is that the local businesses, let us use yes, I'm back. It seems to me that they brought me back. Let us use one of the local businessmen. You know, we got sheriff that is pouncing about the place. Sheriff security, we got sheriff medical services, we got sheriff taxi, we got sheriff dental. But here was the problem. We got these businessmen like sheriff. I'm using sheriff as one example because he's a questionable character. I know a lot of us turn up there to do our covert tests, the PCR or the other one, what you call it. So we spend our monies there, but here what's the problem? They are willing to invest in the oil sector, but because we have something called the American Chambers of Commerce down here, they have the local offices here. When these businesses arise or puts themselves into place, I'm talking about our local businesses here, to garner or to gather themselves so they can make applications for oil and gas sector contracts under the Anti-Money Laundering, Finance and Terrorism Act law. They have something that you call declarations of assets and accountability of acquirement of such assets. It's in the law. You remember I said to you a couple of months ago that Anil went to the US and said he wants a viable opposition that can challenge the government. But he's laughing at them because he said, look what we got to deal with. Look what we got to deal with. A bunch of nincompoops, right? But now, you have investment that's supposed to come into Guyana. And the US Embassy and the US State Department is laughing at us because they're looking at us and said, look, business is now coming to Guyana. And because business is coming to Guyana, Guyanese can't invest in it because all of their local contractors, businessmen, are persons of questionable characters. So look what we got to deal with now. Bear laugh. Because we can take advantage of them. They can't sneeze without we giving them a piece of toilet paper to wipe their nose. This is what we got to deal with. Look what we got to deal with. This is what we got to deal with as a nation and as a people. So we got, here the laugh. You can remember the $900 million US contract we talk about? The guy wrong and wrong and wrong in circles. Wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong in circles. Wrong and wrong in circles. All the time. Talking about this 900 million US dollar contract. Here, what's the problem? issuing the contract is a problem. So they now have to acquire a financier. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me. You know what's a financier? It's somebody who they are trying to acquire some kind of economic relationship with, so we can garner their monies to execute that $900 million contract. Because the Bank of Guyana, which is the highest bank in this country, can't lend anything more than 20 million US dollars. And they ain't even got it. Because if Bank of Guyana has the 20 million US dollars, they would have already repaid Bank of Jamaica the $9 million that they owe them, that Gaisuku owe them. Until now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Gaisuku owes Bank of Jamaica 9 million US dollars. And Guyana can't pay it back. So how we getting Bank of Guyana to procure more than 900 million US dollars or something around that amount that we can have a contract going for our local businessmen? We can't. We got to seek foreign investors, a foreign financier. So they're trying to give Guyana away to the mighty sheikhs of Dubai and the Arab Emirates, the UAE. They're trying to give Guyana away. They're giving Guyana away. So they want to give Guyana away to the sheikhs. Now these are oil moguls. To those who are looking, when I mean oil moguls, I'm not talking to the PPP supporters who support the PPP and are blinded. I'm talking to those who are Guyanese and who wants to be educated. These people are going across this globe to talk to the oil moguls about giving away our lands because they want to secure a lot of money. Remember, they can't turn up at the NYC Central Bank, the New York City Central Bank, to gather the monies that they have there, that is being placed there by the Sovereign Wealth Fund Committee. They can't turn up there. So they're going all over the place. So they want to go now and give Guyana away to the oil moguls. The UAE and the mighty Dubai. That's what they're doing. So here was the first propaganda. They're now rolling it out. So the United Arab Emirates is telling them, you remember now these people knows about a lot of countries that are now oil producers. They have a lot of information about Guyana. So here is the problem now. You coming to me to borrow money to support the country that you say you're supporting, but I know you're supporting your pockets. But then, the 1% wealthy Guyanese that you got are persons of questionable characters. That means they can't give accountability of the wealth garnered. If you understand what I mean. They can't give accountability for the wealth garnered. If you put the three wealthiest family together that are Guyanese, each of them can surpass 20 million US dollars. They can't go past that. For go past 15 million is a problem, must say 10 million US dollars. It's a problem. They can't go past now. Beer problems, I'll tell you why. Here was the problem. I don't care how much fancy accountants we got. If you have a working population of 450,000, and I'm talking about the wealthiest family from since we became independent to now, that's roughly 50 years. And within that 50 years, Guyana had its biggest and largest migration ever of brilliant minds, laborers, left these shores, never to come back. Here was the question. How can one man show me he acquired 20 million US dollars from a country that has less than 450,000 working population? Our working population is 450,000. But we got 30,000 in the public sector. And we got less than 10,000 in the private sector. There's 40. So we got 410,000 people in the working population. That means eligible to work from age 18 onwards. We got 450,000 people in the retail market. 410,000. That means we have more people acquiring to provide goods and services, and we have less persons in the working population. So how are you acquiring 20, 30, 40 million US dollars within a year, 2 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 years? You still can't acquire it. We don't have the population to turn the money over. So it's less taxes. So what happens, you have the taxation is built upon importation of goods and services and not local manpower that is issued. Y'all get my point? So the more you import is the more taxes being taken just to support the economy, just to support that economic bubble, keep it from bursting. So how can one man acquire 20 million US dollars within a 20-year period? Still can't. Still can't show the accountability. He still cannot show the accountability. And they got some people because poison in the brains. Let me show you a specific reason. Do you know that region 5 and 6, those two regions depend upon importation so their communities can flourish? Do you know that? The working population of those two regions are so small because not much persons work in those regions. See, even by the public sector offices that are stated, that are stationed there, the working population is so small, not much people are working. You check the schools, it's the same thing with the teachers and the headmasters, because majority of the population there are business people, they are importers. And what importation they do? Strictly from Suriname. So you know what happens from Suriname to Guyana. It's a lot of contraband. Things are sold cheaply. And people get along. Because what comes through from the border from Suriname illegally to Guyana are being shuttled down to Georgetown. Georgetown takes off 90% of the commodities that are brought into this country illegally from that Pacific area or region of the country. Let's put that one side. Let's look at region 7, 9, and 10. Let me look at region 7, 8, 9, and 10. Heavily dependency on the mining community. That if you block off the bridge at region 10, a multi-billion dollars trade of mining. If you block it off for one day, a multi-billion dollar trade in mining would cease to exist, would make the country lose big time because it's a multi-billion dollar sector. That single bridge that carries us across from Mackenzie to Wismar, that heads through the interior location, that goes different directions, that single bridge caters for an economy that is roughly $2 billion. And I'm not talking per year, I'm talking about per every 10 years, sometimes 5 years. It depends upon the trade. It depends upon where the gold rush is. Y'all getting my point? So if you take the Biharis, the Gafurs, the Kesuns, maybe add some more people to it. If you take those families and you put them together, for them to acquire the wealth that is more than the economy comes with a questionable correct, comes with a question mark. How did you acquire such wealth? Where did you gain it or garner it from? Can you show the accountability? Y'all get my point? So now we're having problems selling our economic benefits to the world because we can't have credible businessmen to do business outside of Guyana. No banking will lend you money when we investigate that we got problems lending you because you have problems showing how you acquired such wealth. So who the American chambers is going to advise any other business to do business with these companies in Guyana when their characters are questionable? You understand what I'm talking about? So when I say the State Department control this country, indeed, because the United States of American Embassy comes with the instructions of the State Department. It's the Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken. So you're telling me they know what going on in Guyana? They are running this country. You left and gone till to Dubai. And the U.S. Chambers of Commerce is with you all the way. What are you investing in? You opening up what, which to which country? Who are the businessmen involved? Who are the players? Who are the players that are representing Guyana so we can have the cash flow? Guyanese who are looking, you're not going to be employed in the oil sector. Oh no. Don't be fooled. If you're employed, you know how you're being employed. You either be a security guard, a maid, or a driver. And they call that jobs. Well, they ain't jobs to me. That's slavery. Because you know why? They enjoy paying us $500 a month. When those Trinidadians who are coming over here are acquiring more than $1,500 a month. That's their salary. More than. Some of them take home $1,800 a month. 19, 2,000, 2,500 US dollars per month. Working on those oil rigs. And how much Guyanese getting? Zero. So the rat sits down there to talk his mouth full of filth. But the truth suddenly comes out because he's now saying that Guyana's labor market will have to come from external because we don't have the required skilled persons to work in the oil and gas sector. That came out of his mouth. And which news agency are expounding upon it? None. Nobody pick it up to investigate the reason why he says so. Everybody's talking like Guyanese, and Guyanese is not enjoying anything. Nothing. We are being raped daily by this terrorist regime, the PPP. We're being raped daily by them. This country has been physically molested every single minute of the day by the gathering of four at the PPP. Don't bother with Phillips. He making sense. He 94. He number 6 or 7. Got a lot of ministers before him. That's what is happening. And we sitting down, relaxing, looking on. We don't have a clue what's going on. So our job industry only reduces or being produced by a security company. That's what's hiring now. They can invest in the security companies just so you can see foreign security companies coming here to invest. And the local security companies can't invest because they ain't got the skilled workers. They can't go outside of Guyana. They could only stay within the premises or the boundaries thereof of this wonderful country. So they can't go there. They can't invest in these external companies that are macro, not micro, multi-billion-dollar companies. Not talking about Guyana dollars, I'm talking about US euros and pounds. You understand what I'm saying? These companies ain't coming here. Figure Guyanese nothing because Guyanese doesn't have a proper representation. We don't. Our representation are questionable characters. We got a president with that 19 fraud charges. Oh, sorry. It was suddenly reversed from the DPP, the Directive of Public Prosecutions. And a vice president who now enjoys the, what you call it, the immunity of being a president twice or 3 times, because he's one right now. So we can't question nobody. But now the international community is questioning us. All right, y'all didn't want to represent your country. Y'all want to give away your constitution. But here what we going to do. We're going to make a mess out of y'all. You're a Guyanese player, you want to sleep, you turn y'all into slaves. That's what's happening. Oh, y'all didn't know that? Oh, did I mention something that is very harsh? That's the truth. We are going to be slaves in one of the world's most richest economies ever. Guyana's economy is expected to be at least $30 billion rich in the space of 10 years. We ain't getting none of that. Zero. Nada. Not a cent we ain't getting. Because you know why? If our elected or we, no, not elected, our selected representatives are criminals, much less the business community, bunch of criminals. Of course. Because none of them can give accountability. None of them can give accountability. The person on the thing is asking me, Gavin, please tell us who is capable of who is capable right now to represent us. I can tell you this right now. You're looking for leaders, you best look elsewhere. Because you look at the judicial system, it's so corrupt. You could imagine a judge remands a person constantly to prison for 5 years without no evidence from the prosecution. 5 years. I don't care if the man is guilty or not. Justice delayed is justice denied. They should be ashamed after 5 years to tell me, member of the general public, that this man must be set free because the prosecution can't produce a single evidence. For 5 years, continuously be remanded. Every time he appears in court, he got to go back to jail. He's furtherly remanded because he's been charged for murder of his spouse. And you can't find the evidence. For 5 years. So you talk about corruption. The system is corrupt. Suddenly, you finding evidence of who killed Harry Singh or a man who liked to fire the Brigdam police station. Suddenly, you got a man sit down in jail for 5 years. Can't find a single shred of evidence. Now he has to sue the state for violating his human rights, his civil rights. Go about 10, sue them over 10 different things. Wrongful incarceration. They got to repay him for the time lost, monies that he's supposed to gather or garnered for that period of time. They got to find the money. And here, they're going to rally out like stupidness. That's the system we're working with. A man is murdered in his sleep. The intelligence was right. They did gather intelligence on that man. But he was killed at a time where the tensions were heightened. Social media. So the poor policeman now got to face the consequences because his choice was whether if he got a command or not to do so. He pulled the trigger. That's what's happening now. You know, years ago, when Bart was president, pull the trigger, not, you had to die. They had 3, 4, 5, 10 ways in it. It's not being you who says, sir. It's your own people. How can the international community place so much confidence in a government that their own assailants are saying, why they come me for kill this man? And when I go for kill this man, I realize 2 people beat me to the punch. I shoot the man and kill him. These things are live evidence that is available. When Bacchus sit down and talk about how the PPP government runs their narco state and who dies and who lives, to the media, then it was Adam Harris who was investigating and who was videoing him. The next morning, he didn't wake up. His family woke up and saw a hole in his head. And you're telling me it's the same people that I must see differences with? These boys are criminals. Now these boys want to tell me they're representing me. They suddenly find a love for black people. When tell the African Union to borrow money. It's money they went for borrow, you know. But I know the guy that story said talk half, left half, but not Gavin Matthews. Went there to borrow money. Borrow money in the prospects of oil from Guyana, from Ghana, and from the AU, the African Union. These people are disrespectful. I said about the promoting Guyana. And suddenly they're representing black people. When these boys murder us and kill us in the streets, suddenly they're representing black people. At what cost? When the representation stands up, when the representation stands up and to represent the people, you're vexed. You're too black. Like one man tell me, oh, I disrespectful the PPP help me out the streets. And put me right there and I talking against them. Well, here, I telling the man and I can tell you again, the PPP did what they're supposed to do, you're a government. Your job is to be the servants of the people, not the people serving you. That's your job. So whether I find myself out to the streets here, at least I got a lot of sense. Because I've used those years of sense to put myself in the position where I'm at now. And I ain't sticking no bills from nobody. Because the money that I garnered during those years by working hard, it never said Bank of the PPP. It says Bank of Guyana. It never, so far I have never seen a dollar note that says Bank of the PPP or legal tender note of the PPP. It ain't marked that one at all. So I don't know which money they're talking about. Because then I was a policeman. When I work hard and ready for draw my salary, I never got Freedom House to draw my salary. I used to go to Scotiabank, Citizens Bank, and Republic Bank. Them is the 3 banks. I went to draw my salary. So I don't know where people getting this epiphany from. But the mere fact is that Investment cannot come to Guyana for our local business community. So Guyanese now has to fend for themselves. We now have to sit down now and look and see our wealth being taken away from us because our local business community can't represent us. Them two criminals that put there for the EA, the Guyana Energy Agency, the GEA, suddenly award permission for them to go ahead with a $900 billion contract, 900 million US dollar contract from an oil to shore, from how should I put it over? Justin, let me slow down a bit. From a land to shore, or from the sea to shore, or whatever you want to call it, oil pipeline or gas pipeline, coming all the way from the 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 rig on the seashore, coming all the way to on shore of Guyana to bring a pipeline to give us energy. You give them $900 million investment. Now, remember, Bank of Guyana can't lend you more than where the economy gives. So we got a $3 billion budget, which is 15 million US dollars. Can't lend you more than that. Where getting it from? We done in the red because they're spending more money where they ain't got, where the taxes can't give them. The population cannot give the Office of Financial Affairs and the Guyana Revenue Authority $3 billion worth in taxes because we don't have those kind of people working to give those taxation. So we are already in the red. The banks, the commercial banks, can't give you more than 5 million. There's $1 billion Guyana. As a matter of fact, they can't even get it. They can't find $1 billion Guyana and give it to you. Because when you check their output, the yearly output, some of them barely jump $100 million in interest from loans. That means they can't go farther than that. I'm talking about $100 million Guyana dollars. That means it's 500,000 US dollars because 1 million is 200 million Guyana dollars. So where these banks getting this money from to lend you? Now your business isn't external. So even if you got an external account, bank account, you have to show accountability in that foreign country that you have that money stored up. If you're looking for investment. Hey, I know when I talk, the PPP just get vexed. Just tear off the clothes. Because I have no time to waste when you see I come on this show to talk nonsense. I guarantee you that. So, if I don't have an external account, if I don't have an external business, if I don't have a business in another country, which is of another port, to give accountability of my wealth, how am I accumulating such monies? Such monies. How am I accumulating? So when I gotta present this, my wealth, my financial background, my financial gain, how I gain so much of money. You have the US Chambers of Commerce who are sitting there looking on. So when we shape up, they're saying, show me how come, how now, how bronco. Show me. I'm waiting to see how you accumulate such money. Don't go to the barrel minister. That was years ago story. That's years ago story. So the problem is that we can't move as a country. So those projections that you're seeing, that they're talking about economic growth, those projections only come from the oil and gas sector, but the economy is not gaining it. So what are we really telling the people? We're lying to them. Because the people are not experiencing it. And those nice $25,000 that they're giving out steady, that's taxpayers' money they're giving back to us. So y'all got to understand that. It's taxpayers' money they're giving back to us. They want us to keep us blind. So we mustn't look into things. We mustn't ask questions. We've been propped up steady with $100 US. You could imagine that. That's all Guyanese worth. $125 US. To be exact. That is our worth as a nation. You could imagine that. We ain't gonna forget. Nothing at all we ain't gonna forget. We got some people turning up in this country with a shovel and a fork to take our teeth, out of our mouths. One tooth more than one teeth, yes. So we got somebody to come and look after our dentures for us because we have a lot of monies to give away. So we can call you and put a $3 million worth dentures in your mouth and you can smile brightly. You check it. Check what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. Because that's the fact. That's the fact. You can imagine the Duns gone till over there for talk about further investment that they're inviting to the UAE, to Guyana. Those moguls, one man's breakfast is worth our economy. One man's breakfast in that country. And men is eat more than 15 million US dollars when the day come. This the pocket change money. You going to sit down there to tell those people that you could come together and invest. We got enough land and everything to give away. We got enough wealth to share away. Not to the Guyanese people, but to you. Because we want your money. And the people watching me and laughing and saying, look what we got to deal with. These $15 million people. That is all they're worth. 15 million US dollars. They're laughing at us. They're giggling. And we're fighting over one another with $1 million US. You could imagine. Big land deal. Each person get $1 million each. We want to kill one another for the $1 million US dollars. 200 million Guyana dollars. That's what's going on. Are we giving up the nation for less than 15 million US dollars? Are we giving up the nation for, this is what these PVP people doing. Giving up Guyana for less than 15 million Guyana dollars. We can't put together credible contractors, credible businessmen, because credibility doesn't stand in a corrupt society like Guyana. We are so corrupt. We are so corrupt. You could imagine you turning up for arrest a man for what he's being charged in the court to turn up to go and answer for. The man knows his rights. He was once the assistant commissioner of police. He understands law and is willing to challenge it. So y'all don't like challenge. So y'all are taking instructions from a bunch of preschool children who tells themselves that they're terrorists and dictators. That's what they're taking instructions from. And the business community can't get far from where they're going because investment can't come. Nobody's investing in them. It's not me says your vice president says so. Bar Jack the show. Is he says so? He said to the international community when he was in Africa addressing the AU. As a matter of fact, it's the African Union he was addressing on our radio station when he was talking about bringing foreign companies in with their labor forces to operate and act and to work in the oil and gas sector because we don't have the skilled workers. He's so right. But the truth is that we don't have any businesses to invest in the skilled workers because they themselves are not credible. They are questionable characters. Their businesses are a front for illegal and illicit activities. So before the U.S. Chambers of Commerce bring up a dirty secret, it better bring it up so y'all could know. Because it's coming out piece by piece. Remember I said this in a couple of shows ago. I said the business community cannot invest because we do not have the credibility to show how we ascertain such cash to bring about investment. Imagine one man move from a taxi service to security force medical center within 4 years. I didn't know in Jarchung has so much taxi service. I didn't know we had more people more than cars. I didn't know we had more cars more than. I don't know how to put it over really. Oh my gosh! Hey, I tell you, this is beer laugh. This is beer laugh. All them taxi service we got, all of them. Them are making money. Because Guyana got a lot of people that are traveling. I know since a man get $500,000 in the year, either take a car or motorbikes. I don't know how we getting all them taxi service. Competition. Competition is right. That means people traveling for less than $300 per person or per drop. They're making money. Questionable characters. That's the kind of businesses we have, of businessmen and women. So the U.S. Chambers of Commerce is objecting to these kind of questionable characters that we have in the business community or part of the private sector commission. I tell you what, you could imagine when you're going up the East Bank or down the East Bank at any given time per day, we are in a traffic jam. Whether we going over the river, we were in a traffic jam. So much vehicles in Georgetown. We ain't got parking spaces to accumulate such. And new taxi service booming. The taxi service booming. You can imagine vehicles got so cheap now that people buying it online, bringing it in themselves, putting the car dealerships out of business because nobody got an extra million to give you. And in 4 years, you acquire such wealth. So what leaves me as a foreign businessman? I gotta know who I come in and getting competition with. And as long as I come here and I see me and no sort of competition, I got here crooks and criminals. I gonna make more requisitions. I gonna make more requisitions. Believe you me. Let me put that aside. Now we got overnight millionaires. Overnight millionaires. And I got some people only waiting for getting to power by. They ain't waiting for the time to drag out to say, well, look, over 3 year period, I've gained so much of money and kind of wealth so I can afford to get a house with a pool and I buy a $10 million vehicle to drive it. They ain't waiting for the part. They ain't waiting for the part to tell. Well, here what happen. Put a little money in your pocket, put you in a big fancy house, get the car, get a little power so you acquire slaves for us. Uh, hold on. Hold on. I gotta read this thing here, so I got some people on the live that trying to make some comments, but they're making really sense, and I understand them. Yes. So here what's going to happen now. We got places like we got businesses like Starbrook News. No, not really Starbrook News, Guyana Times. We got businesses like Same Sheriff. We got business like eNetworks. We got eNetworks. They're sudden. They're so sudden that it's amazing. It is amazing to see the kind of wealth that they've gained overnight. So much amazing. Nobody wants you to talk about these things. Why don't you shut your mouth and let the man rise? Here is the problem. I don't have a problem with you rising. But when you rise, and in your rising you support a terrorist regime like the PPP, I'm going to talk about it. You damn well right I'm going to investigate you. Because I will want to know why. So when I understand that the sister who's a minister and the brother runs eNetwork and his father was once Ripudaman Prasad, it's understandable why. You see, when you're in government, you give your friends and your cronies businesses so they can develop and they can support you in your campaign back for re-election or office or whenever you call upon them, they got to fork it out and give it to you. It's understandable why. But I cannot support the understanding when you support an administration that takes away the constitution of a people and is guiding that people and that constitution and that country down the drain hole. Because you don't expect them to come out from that what they've done. Nobody expects Guyanese to recuperate or to bring themselves out from this ditch that they're in, this deep hole that you find themselves in. Nobody expects that. So what happens? We're having a slight problem. That problem is understanding. So because we cannot comprehend, there's no understanding. So to overstand or to stand over such information, it's a hard thing. Because nobody wants you to talk. Why are you talking about these people? These people are supporting a terrorist regime. That's all the PPTP does. To promote terrorism, to terrorize a nation and to oppress them. And then involve their cronies, buddies, and friends that are criminals just like them. So we're having serious problems now because when we approach the international community, when we get on that stage of recognition, the people look at us and call us a nation of criminals. We're not a corrupt nation. We're a nation of criminals. That's how the people look at us because they say, no, we elect a lot of criminals as leaders, so how can we do business? Some countries like to do business with criminals. And there are some countries that take advantage of the situation. See somebody's trying to call. Don't hesitate, call and we can have this conversation. I challenge you. So we can have this conversation. So Guyana will be a country that is filthy rich, stinking rich. But its population can never experience such wealth because standing on our spines, it is the international business community that don't want us to come out of this death that we're in, death of poverty. They don't want us to come out of that death of poverty. They want us to remain there. And the more we put the kind of people there to say, well, no, let us be serious. We gotta pick sense out of nonsense. You cannot take a man who is accustomed to having $1 million or $2 million per year and put him in a position where he sees 10, 15 million per year. What do you think will happen then? He's going to take that money, especially those in Guyana. He is going to take that money. I'm talking about Guyana dollars, not even US. It takes a man with an overstanding to understand or to overstand that 15 million US dollars is joke on the international community. So if I take that, just making myself a fool. Because can't do business on the international community. But as long as our overstanding, as long as our comprehension is limited. Hold on. Thank you for calling the GMS Live. This is the voice of democracy. Good night to you.
Hi, Mr. Garvin. How are you tonight, man, my brother?
I'm fired up as usual. Fired up as usual.
I know you're profit on it, and I don't like it.
Well, I don't mind. I stalk the truth.
Yeah, I know you just always start the truth. What is the government of Guyana should do? Give duty-free car so nobody can give bribe and let them bring in the car and knock out all the businessman. What they should do, Garvin.
No, but here what happened. Trinidad had something a couple of years ago where they said to the population, we're going to stop bringing pre-used vehicles. So when you go to buy a vehicle, it must be a factory. It's just like brand new out of the factory. So it can last you a bit longer. You understand? Because what you find now, you find Guyana becomes a dumping ground for any kind of vehicle. Pre-used, old, beat up, all kind of thing. And we got so much traffic that anybody driving anything. So it's not the duty free, but it is the kind of vehicles that are coming. You understand?
I got it.
It's the kind of vehicles that are coming. And if you check it, it is so cheap. When you check the CIF for $1,000 vehicle to bring it in, the CIF, it's about roughly $2,500. You understand me?
That's right.
But by the time the duties clear, the whole thing is about 5,000 US dollars. It make any sense? You understand?
Yeah, man. That's why the government should have free up duty free now. They give everybody duty free. Let them bring a vehicle flood the country because you know what happened, Garvin. You know what nice by them, you know what nice by them. They never like how we do. You know, Garvin, these people, they will make mad for me and you because you know the station, me, the radio station, so you understand.
Yes.
And crack a partner. They never like how we.
You know, you got to talk the truth. You got to keep on educating the people, informing them.
Yeah, man.
You know,
they must talk the truth, but Katija got a lot of anti-man. But then I said they must do the wrong thing, you understand? Anti-man make the universe right. You know, Garvin?
well, you know, your beliefs and my beliefs are two different things. I might think different.
I know, Garvin. I know your man. Me and you went to school together, Garvin. You remember that?
You understand? Well, I could only see you when I see you to know that, but I don't know the voice. But I can tell you this. I'm happy that you called because I want us to continue this. We must have conversations where we can call in and talk upon things that benefits us as a country.
Garvin, the next thing, the police force. They get a lot of bribe. They don't kill nobody and get a lot of people in there. So I used to people that, you know, I don't live in Dublin Street, my street there. For the centralized school. You know, I used to thief and I stop, right? And I say goodbye. Why the rest can't stop thief?
I'm going to tell you this here now. Here is a problem Guyana has. And it's a cultural problem. If I am living here next to you, and I'm a multimillionaire, my family is enjoying all its wealth. But the system is so corrupt that you who living next to me lives in poverty. No, you know what gonna happen? A good day is that I can expect either now you or your children gonna commit some kind of crime because somebody got eat. So I am saying to you now, if we tackle this problem, and here was the problem, create jobs for our working population, we won't have such crimes. I'm not saying that crime is something to choose if you don't have a job, but I'm saying to you now, it must never be a circumstantial constraint. Crime must never be a last resort. It must never be a resort. Because when you create, I lose the caller, but when you create jobs, not take jobs away, you take away 3,000 jobs from Guyanese. That means you want to create a criminal empire. You want people to go about doing crime so you can have the choice to shoot and kill them. Because they can turn around and say, I'll walk in there and I got a family and I got a mouth to feed. But the thing is that let us pick sense out of nonsense. Hold on. Thank you for calling the GMS Live Voice of Democracy. Good night to you. All the time.
So the country is not, or repeat, not going to get any better. It's going to get better for them. Especially the Afro Guyanese, they're going to be escalated to the gutter. From the inception, from the 1960s, the corruption fester. And once that's instilled or engraved in all fabrics of life in Guyana, the police, the healthcare system, the businesses, just corruption all around. So how can you eradicate corruption when it's built into the system? That when you got the
But would you like for me to share how can we eradicate that corrupt part of society?
Well, my idea of it is that when you get the people in power, and that's the problem, you would have to get the people in power out of power, because even if you do catch someone and they have to go in front of the court, and the court is corrupt, you would have to get rid of the whole court system. So it's a wholesale change, and you've got to have harsher punishment for the white collar crime that these folks are perpetuating day in and day out. So I would like to hear your takes on how you get rid of that corruption.
If you want to stay on the line, I'd be very much appreciative.
Yeah, sure.
Good. To get rid of such corruption, you ever heard about the people's power
Yeah, the
or
people.
power to the people? Well,
That's true.
the power belongs to the people in any society, in any state. It is we who demand accountability from a state or from a country. If we do not demand accountability, well, then we encourage corruption. Don't you think so?
But we do. But are we doing that right now?
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we
So,
are. You know why I'm telling you
yeah.
that? Here, why I'm telling you that. I had a conversation with a 60-year-old man, older than me. He said, you can't stop the youths of today because nobody listening. And you know what I told him? I tell him, I said, it takes a man and a woman to bring a child into the world, but it takes a community to raise that child. You know what he tell me? He said, I ain't got time with her. Before I look after the house, your wife and the children. Anything outside there, try there. But you know what happens? That he would see corruption and wouldn't say anything about it or wouldn't do anything about it. So that means you accept that way of life. You understand what I mean? And that's what the PPP does to us. The PPP, the PPP,
They put you to sleep basically by paying you off. How are you going to share out cash,
so,
lots of cash with
right. Where you see now, with people like me who's Gavin Matthews, because he turned and tell me, he said, there's one man. I can't do nothing, but I turn and tell him, before be one man, to do something than to do nothing at all. You understand? Because I cannot sit down and accept that. I don't care who doesn't want to follow. I'm saying, I was telling him plain. I said, you got to do something about it. If we do nothing, that means we accept everything. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but the thing is that when we have the percentage, we play the percentage. If you have 2 out of 10, that's a bad percentage. If you got 2 out of 100 people protesting, it just don't bode well for trying to get rid of the things you were looking to get rid of. So, which means you've got to increase that percentage of people that are dissatisfied.
But
And when you
if we're talking about percentages, we're talking about systematic education. That is
that is
misinformation. Because if we look at percentage, we look at systematic education, which is misinformation. If we come out of the box of misinformation, then we understand how we become blinded by the systematic education that becomes so misinformed to us because it's being constantly bombarded into our ears, in our plain sight, in the print media. We need to come off of that, because if we keep on percentages, if we keep on things that pertaining to any form of percent, it's what they want us is what they want us to digest so we can regurgitate. You understand? If you get my point.
right. It's not like yes, I get your point, but they've already captured the market for disinformation.
Mm-hmm.
So here's just they've already got that percentage bubble gum. So now they dropped, folks like you and others increase the dissatisfaction by educating the people because on a regular, it seems like the people are, misinformed and don't even know what's going on in their
Of course. Because
movement.
let me show you a simple understanding. How can you give an approval for a pipeline to be built from offshore to onshore for $900 million when the economy is $15 million? I'm talking about US. you, you, and, and you know what they do? They give you the truth. They give you the truth in plain sight. And we who reading it, we got the papers up, we reading it. It didn't come across my mind because we click 900 million US, but we pass a budget for 15 million, which is 3 billion Guyana dollars. How they could give out approval for 900 million US dollar contract? Where these people get this money from? Nobody seems to click to find out.
Nobody seems to care because that same project was about $400 or $500 million, and all of a sudden, in 1 year, it increased to $900 million. It's most likely.
It wasn't even 400 or 500 million. That was produced for 45 million US dollars. That same contract, that same what you call it, proposal was 45 million US dollars. It jumped from that to 900 million US dollars.
They will be cost overrun, so projected to be over $1 million US.
But the thing is that you're given two businessmen to be in control of that, who doesn't even have an output of must have 10 or 5 million US dollars. You see, it's mere corruption. It's thief the thief. It's Guyanese money going to blows there right away.
But guess what? The Guyanese people are screwed over and over again. So it's basically, you don't have a prayer to get anything. Basically, the Afro Bank will be collecting crumbs for the rest of, the foreseeable future. And that's what I got to say.
By the way, though, I'm happy that you called. I want to wish you well. I want to say to you, stay safe, be careful, and I would like to have this chat back again at another time. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Sometimes the conversation is be so sweet. I just wanted to go on, but because there are other programs that I want to give some sort of leniency to and understanding, I must leave. So I must say thank you to those who have joined in. Thank you to those who have commented on the show. Thank you to those who have been a part of it for this hour and a half. And I want to say to you to please vote in the referendum. If you have a problem, do call the number. I'll give you the ballot electronically via way of WhatsApp so you can vote and to donate to our GoFundMe site so we can have this referendum up and running. We still need to approach the Chancellor of the Judiciary, the Office of the Chancellor of the Judiciary, so please don't hesitate. If you notice that I have put up an app, that's an application for an online radio. It's not up as yet. We're trying our best, so it's off and on, but we're trying our best to get it rectified. I want to say to you again to stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask, and don't forget the little ones you take into public places. This is Dr. Matthews saying good night. Cheerios for now.